Hey friends, over 60% of you are listening to me right now on an Apple product. iPhone, iPad, iTunes. I need your help. The truth is, Apple will make this podcast more discoverable to new listeners the more reviews it has. So I'm here asking you to take a moment and leave a review. If you've gained any value from this podcast, the greatest thing you can do for it, besides spreading the word and telling friends, is leaving a review. It's real simple. If you're on your phone, head over to my podcast page within the Apple Podcast app and leave a review. Or if you're on a computer, you can head over to my podcast page within the iTunes app. That's it. That's all I ask. And if you have other podcasts that you love, do them a favor and do the same for them. It'll make their day. Now let's get this podcast started already.
Long time no talk. Well, it's only been about, who am I kidding? And I do want to apologize because I try not to take off many weeks. Like, I try not to take off any weeks, but sometimes life just gets in the way, and we'll talk about that. But first, got to remind you guys, Gary'sPodcast.com/Amazon. Do all of your Amazon shopping using my link, and you won't save anything doing this way, but you'll help out the podcast without even realizing it. I mean, so many times we just buy stuff on Amazon, right? I mean, it's just so easy. You buy stuff and they have everything you want. So, but with that, if you go to my link, Gary'sPodcast.com/Amazon, or you go on Gary'sPodcast.com and click on the menu link for Amazon, basically it's just an affiliate link, and it just tells Amazon that I sent you instead of you just going to Amazon.com, and you can even bookmark it, and believe it or not, it actually does really help a lot. So if you guys can help me out in that regard, I would be greatly appreciated. And also, I want to tell you about Lyft. I talk about this often. It's something that I actually participate in, so I try to only advertise things that I believe in, and I believe in Lyft. You can use my code Gary's Podcast if you want to get a ride. You know, maybe you want to go out and have a few drinks and you don't want to drive home, and I would certainly not advocate that. You can use my code Gary's Podcast to save up to $20 off your first trip. Visit their site for all the details, Lyft.com. It'll tell you what the code is worth in your area. It varies by market. So DC is going to be different from New York, which is going to be different than Philadelphia, than San Diego and Las Vegas and all these things. So it varies by market, but it can be up to $20. And, it's a great way to save some money if you're looking to take your first ride with Lyft. Also, if you want to drive, maybe you've ridden around in a Lyft car before and you like the experience, and maybe you like to drive, you like to meet new people, you want to make some money while you're in your car sitting in traffic. This is a great way to do it. Use my code Gary's Podcast. They're giving sign-on bonuses up to $1,000 after you complete a certain amount of trips. It's a great deal if you're looking to make some money. So check that out. Give it a look-see, and think about driving or riding with Lyft using my code Gary's Podcast. We're either saving you money or making you money. Either way, you're doing all right. So that's the deal with that. Let's get started with the podcast. Again, sorry about missing a week. I do apologize, but I'm back now and ready to go. I'm moved into my new place. This is the first podcast that I'm recording in the new living room of my new apartment. I've upgraded to a 3-bedroom apartment. I have a great view. I'm looking at trees, a shopping center, other apartment buildings, and a landfill in the far distance. But I'm moved into my new place. I'm happy to be in this new place. Finally, the move is so stressful, and we moved on Tuesday, which is normally my recording day. So for me, I'm just like, I thought about, could I do a podcast on Tuesday night after I moved? I probably could have, but I was so emotionally drained from this whole experience. Moving is just such a stressful thing, and I like challenges. A little stress is not bad, because I always say hard work always wins. And we spent 2 days moving a 1-bedroom apartment because we have so much stuff. We probably have enough stuff. I'm actually looking at it right now. We have enough stuff in here to fill up all 3 rooms. that we had in a 1-bedroom. So, major shout out to my family, my wife's family, for stepping up, my best friend Sean for helping me out with the move, and friends. It's a great appreciation to those that took time out of their day to help us out. I really appreciate that. I could not have done it without them. So definitely a shout out to them. It took us 2 days. We got moved. I rented a U-Haul. I drove my first big truck. This was pretty crazy. But we got moved in, so it's all good. Everything's set. I finally have an apartment that faces the correct sky direction for satellite TV. So we got a nice, beautiful DirecTV dish just hanging right off the balcony here and shooting out in the sky. This guy, now I'm a tech nerd. Those of you guys that really know me, I'm a tech nerd. And so when that guy installed it and took me in the diagnostic screen on the DVR, and we're looking at signal levels, and it's just shooting 100s all day long, I'm a happy camper. So we got, all the good channels. I got Sunday Ticket for free, which means I can watch a lot of football. Really looking forward to that. So it should be a good time. And I'm looking forward to having people over and entertaining them in this new place once we get it all situated and set up. So what an experience it was. I actually dropped 5 pounds. I gained some of those back, but I dropped like 5 pounds over the course of 2 days and moving all this stuff, just sweating and stressing. And it was a good workout. The stress was not healthy, but it was a good workout. And by the time it was all said and done, I was just happy. I was pooped, but I was happy that it was done. So there you go. Speaking of the weight loss, why don't we just go ahead and get right into that? So the update is this week I am down 3. Last week I was 296, and the week before that I was 293. So now I'm back down to 293. It's a loss of 3. I had a gain of 3 last week, so I was not thrilled about it. But you know what? Again, I talk about this on the podcast all the time. You never harp on the number. The number changes every single week. So, you can never harp on that number. It's never healthy to get stressed out. And I've been reaching out to a lot of people on Instagram. Instagram is kind of where I hang out now. So if you're on Instagram and you don't mind a bunch of weight loss based pictures, and I post other stuff too. We'll get into some of the other stuff I post, but if I've really kind of connected with the whole weight loss community on Instagram, which is a great thing. So at Gary Cantrell is my handle. You can reach me there. Check me out on Instagram. I'm just been chatting with a whole bunch of people, meeting a lot of nice people on Instagram, and seeing kind of their progress and where they're at. And I've received a lot of great feedback from some of these folks on my journey as well, which I greatly appreciate. I really appreciate it. But it's just been a wild ride. But when I'm on Instagram, a lot of times I see 2 things when it comes to the weight number. And number one is I see people that are kind of, they're level headed. They're like, yeah, my number went up this week, but next week it'll be different and it'll be all good. And then there are kind of people that tend to harp on the number, and I get why they do it. Like, I'm not going to say, oh, they're so silly for, harping on the number and they shouldn't harp on the number. You really shouldn't harp on the number, but I'm not going to frown upon these people. They just don't they just have a different way of processing it. And I think we all have a different way of processing things, right? Like we all have, it's just like in a workout, we all have our different ways of how we want to do our workout. So, there's different ways to kind of do everything, and it's really, nobody's ever going to be the same. But I do try to just send out messages to people when I see them kind of, souring on their workouts and saying, oh, I gained 2 pounds, my week is over. It's not over, folks. Just know that every week that number is going to change. And as long as you're putting in the hard work, because hard work does always win, as long as you're putting in that hard work, you are going to win every day of your life. I'm telling you, I'm living proof of this, and there's a lot of people on Instagram as well that I follow that are living proof that hard work always wins. These are the folks that are just going in the gym every other day or some every day, and they're just grinding it out, right? They're just going, all out and working hard to reach a goal. And that's awesome. I mean, that's really what it's all about. But, I try to reach out to people and just say, look, your week's not over, your month's not over, your day's not over. Like, yes, it sucks to gain pound. And the last 2 weeks, I've gained. The last 2 weeks, I've gained weight, both weeks. And believe me when I tell you, I was not thrilled about it. I was, a little bummed about it. But I can never let it get me down because I've just got to keep on going no matter what. That is the goal, is just to keep going, keep pushing, fight like hell, fight like there is no tomorrow. Get back up on your treadmill, lift your weights, get on your Stairmaster or your elliptical or exercise bike and fight like hell. I'm telling you, folks, this is the key. You work hard and you will see the reward. I promise you. And we all fight back. Like I said, the number will change. And for me, it changed. It went back down. And of course, you celebrate when it goes down. You're not thrilled when it goes up. But no matter what, you never harp on the number. You never kind of spend the night with the number. You don't hang out with the number on a consistent basis. The only number in your mind that should be central is your goal number. Keep that in the front of your mind. 185 is my number. I've said this many times, but if you're new on the podcast and this is your first episode, 185 is my number. And so that's the number that I keep at the front of my mind at all times. I don't worry about, did I go up 3 or am I down 6 or up 10? God, I hope I'm not up 10, but you know what I mean? Like, you don't sit and harp on these numbers. You just keep going. And that's the point of this. I just want to encourage you just to keep going. Fight. And just keep pushing hard, ultimately. So, but I've been talking with a lot of people, and again, if you're listening, follow me on Instagram at Gary Cantrell, and you can see kind of the progress. It's easy to come on the podcast and talk about it, and you can listen and hear, okay, cool, he's down 3, but I'm posting, pictures of all this stuff. So that way you can have a visual element to go along with what I'm telling you. That way you can see it. Like, I document it all. A lot of times when I'm in the car driving around, Lyft, I talk to people and somehow the journey comes up. And they're saying, that's crazy. Some people are saying, most people are like, oh, that's so cool, congratulations. But a lot of people are saying, there's no way. Like, how are you down nearly 80 pounds? And I say, just go to my Instagram. I document it all. And I think that, a lot of you, if you're somebody who's listening to this because you found me on Instagram or you're a part of a weight loss journey, taking pictures every step of the way really helps. Even if you don't feel comfortable with the pictures, just take them, and maybe down the line you'll feel comfortable with sharing them. Even if you just never share them at all, keep them for yourself. Keep a running documentation of your progress. Me, I choose to post it publicly online because it's for accountability, right? If I stop and people are following along and they're going, Gary, they're rooting me along just like I'm out there rooting them along. If I stop, people are going to wonder, what the hell's going on? You were posting all this stuff. Now you're not posting anything. It's accountability. And I post good and bad. I don't just post when I lose weight. I post when I gain weight as well. Like, it goes all directions. You have to be kind of, upfront with it in that sense. 100%. You got to be 100% with it. But even if you're not comfortable with posting, on social media, if you don't want to create an Instagram for your weight loss or, what have you, because there are a lot of people that do that. Just at least take pictures for you and keep them somewhere safe. And you can follow along with yourself and just kind of see what your progress is. But take the pictures. I think it's so important to do this because it will show you that hard work always wins. 100% of the time, it's never up for discussion. That's just the way it goes. Hard work always wins. I live by that. I do it every day of my life. That is the truth. You work hard, you will win every day of your life. Trust me on that. My body's working hard, I can tell you that. I was in New York over the weekend with one of my best friends, Andrew. We call him Richie Drake. Nice guy. We went up to New York. WWE was in town. That's actually not why we went, though. Bruce Pritchard, the Bruce Pritchard podcast, Something to Wrestle With, was the reason we were up there. He and Conrad, you may remember from episode 1, we did an interview with Conrad. And I did ask Bruce, I put him on the spot. I said, will you come on this podcast? And he said, if he can, he gets the time, he'll come on this podcast. So I've got a standing kind of verbal agreement with him to come on this show. And I'm going to reach out to him soon to talk about that because I really think, he's got an interesting path in life, and I'd like to kind of go through that. Not even just so much from a wrestling perspective because we don't really do a wrestling podcast here anymore, but definitely just about his life, his journey, working in the entertainment field and what that's like. I think there's a lot of interesting insight there, and kind of getting to hang with Bruce a little bit on Saturday night definitely kind of amplified that for me. So they have the regular show, the Something to Wrestle With live show at the Gramercy Theater in New York. That is what we drove up there for. We had the VIP. We met him. I met him a couple times, but you meet him and you get a picture with him, and then you go watch the show. You get first dibs on the seats. And he and Conrad do a great show. If you like pro wrestling at all, Bruce was in Vince McMahon's inner circle for the better part of 20 plus years. And so what happens is every week they pick a topic voted on by fans. They give you 4 options and they pick out a topic. And Bruce and Conrad will run down this topic in depth. Think about like the podcast Serial and what that kind of was, that big case. It's almost like a 3-hour version of Serial in the sense of they pick a topic and they dissect every little bit of it. And there's a lot of great stories that are told and a lot of insight from a guy who worked side by side with Vince McMahon for over 20 years. So if you listen to this podcast, and I know we don't talk wrestling here, but if you listen to this podcast and you do like wrestling and you're not listening to Something to Wrestle With, 100% you have to go and check it out. No question about it. So they've been taking their show on the road. WWE will do pay-per-views in different cities, and they will do a show either the night before or the afternoon of a pay-per-view in the given city. I've seen them in Baltimore when they did it, and in New York and Orlando. And so these guys, they put on a great show. They've really figured it out. This is my 3rd time seeing them live, and they really have got it dialed in just right. Every show was good, but you can kind of tell as they've gone on that they've adjusted things and they've really made the show stronger as a direct result. And they've got a good team around them. They've got Dave Silva, a Twitter buddy of mine. So the guy, Matt Kuhn. I don't think I met Matt before. No, I have not met Matt. He does a lot of the music. Dave does like the graphics and some other things. And, these guys, they really have a great team. So in 3 shows, I've seen them evolve it into a great show, and I can understand why they get it's got to be at least hundreds of thousands a week consistently, if not closer to 1 million downloads a week. These guys are doing insane. They're cleaning up nice. They're like the best wrestling podcast that you can find out there. Like, it's guys like that do great shows that make me not want to do wrestling podcasts. I'm like, how the hell am I going to come close to this? I can't offer the insight that a wrestler can offer. I can't offer the insight that Bruce Pritchard, who worked side by side with Vince McMahon for 20 plus years, can offer. But I can bring him on here and ask him about all that stuff, and we could talk about it. I think it'll be interesting. But then after the show, there's something called the Dirty Dozen. And so this is a great concept that, more people that have notoriety and fame should take note of. So for a fee, you can pay to be a part of 12 other people, or 11 other people, counting yourself. So it's 12 people total. It's called the Pritchard's Dirty Dozen. And what it is they give you a location, like a bar, restaurant, and you meet Bruce, Conrad, Dave Silva. They're all at this bar, and you sit around with Bruce for an hour, 2 hours, and just shoot the breeze, ask him questions, take pictures, sign autographs. You get a more intimate kind of hangout with Bruce. And this was so valuable to me, like just being able to sit within an arm's reach of the man and listen to him kind of give his kind of thoughts or philosophy on the business. As a fan of wrestling, I learned a lot in that close to 2 hours with Bruce, just hanging out. And, we're joking around too, just having a good time. This was the coolest experience. This was, as cool as the live show, if not better. I mean, I thought this was just an amazing experience to be able to sit down with Bruce it felt like one-on-one, but I was probably sitting the closest to him. So I'm sitting there just hitting him with questions, and he's just, here's why we did this and this and this. And it was just a blast. So again, if you like wrestling, if you're not listening to that podcast, you need to get on it. You need to find out about it because it's incredible. I'm telling you guys right now, you're doing yourself a disservice by not checking it out. And then also we decided to stick around for NXT TakeOver Brooklyn at Barclays Center, which was right up the street. We decided to stick around and kind of hang out and experience that. And that was cool too. Had a lot of fun with NXT. It was a good show. A lot of cool stuff going down there. So it was nice to see, some wrestling again. And again, I'm not going to go into detail. We're not a wrestling podcast per se, but just a good show, a good time, a good environment. It certainly wasn't the environment that I guess fans in Brooklyn saw the next two nights where fans were kind of being rowdy, but these fans were definitely into the product and enjoying what they saw. So that was a lot of fun. A good time had by all in Brooklyn. And then I was trying to think of what the other thing I wanted to talk about was. Oh, yeah. So Vegas, I'm going to Vegas on Thursday. So when I get back next week, I can't wait to tell you all about Las Vegas. I actually just got my weigh-in tickets. So for free, they were offering tickets to the weigh-in to watch Conor and Floyd do their, step on the scale. And, I was kind of bummed because I wasn't going to be able to afford going to the fight. It's just really a bummer. I wanted to go to the fight, but it's just like the cheapest tickets are $1,500, and I just don't have that kind of money. My wife and I are, barely making Vegas happen, but we're making it happen. So I wasn't, I'm not able to go to the fight, but I was just kind of like, if I can at least go to this weigh-in, and I tried for like 15 to 20 minutes to get these tickets, and they kept saying there were no tickets available, and it was not easy to get these tickets, okay? But I finally got them, and I'm in. I'm going on Friday to the weigh-in. I'm excited to be able to experience it, and we're going to have to find a place to watch the fight once we land in Vegas. But we're staying at Caesars Palace. I'm really excited to kind of check out Vegas again. Wife has never been, so it'll be a nice experience for her as well. It's going to be a good time. So we are going to, we're going to check out Britney Spears while we're there. We're definitely going to watch the Conor and Floyd fight while we're there, and then just figure out other cool stuff that we can do along the way. So that's the goal. That's the idea. So Vegas in 2 days. I'm excited. Other than that, not a whole lot going on. I'll probably keep this podcast a little bit shorter this particular week just because it's been such a crazy week getting ready for Vegas and kind of, still unpacking from the move. So I hope to have more for you guys next week. But as far as this week, I wanted to kind of just at least post a podcast with an update. You know, here's what I'm up to. Here's kind of where everything stands. And definitely we'll touch more on things as we go. So, again, before I go, want to thank you guys for checking out the podcast. And just remember, Gary'sPodcast.com/Amazon. Shop at Amazon using my link, and it helps get the podcast some money. Also, going on Lyft, whether you're riding or driving, saving money, making money, we're doing it all right here at Gary's Podcast. And you can use my code, Gary's Podcast, all one word, GARYSPODCAST. Get yourself some savings or make yourself some money. Either way, we're trying to help you out. And other than that, do appreciate you guys listening. Follow me on Instagram at Gary Cantrell. I'm still trying to figure out Snapchat. If you're on there, you can hit me up there as well at I am Gary Cantrell. Somebody has Gary Cantrell and I want it. Other than that, that's it, guys. I'm headed out. Going to get some rest before I go to back to work tomorrow for my last day before Vegas. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you next week. See ya.